Hello and welcome back to the Morning Deal. This is the hotspot segment of the show where we get to look at what is transpiring across the political divide in the country and what impact that has on the political landscape of Kenya. Now, to be able to accomplish this today, I am joined on set by two faces, two gentlemen, who I will give the opportunity to introduce themselves to you, and before we get started, then we will get into looking at the political landscape and what is happening in it and what the opinions of these two gentlemen are about what has been said by our politicians or what is happening. Let's start with you, sir.
Yeah, good morning, viewers. My name is Mark Mungai. I'm back here, and I'm so much delighted that you're ready to watch us, and so that we can discuss and try to see vile siasa ziko. So karibuni.
Thank you so much, Bwana Mark. You, sir.
All right, thank you so much. My name is Jack Norris Kipkogei, and good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
I'm a youth representative from a constituency there, Aldai constituency, and hopefully maybe a member of parliament someday, 2027 or 2032. Thank you.
Well, when you do decide to venture fully into politics, what will you call your movement? Will it be earthquake, volcano,
okay,
tsunami?
of course, with the current maybe political affiliations and everything, I think coming future, maybe it will be an inheritance of what has been happening, and maybe it can be earthquake kind of politics and everything. Yeah, because we really have to shake this nation so that we can bring things to balance.
Oh, we do wish you all the best in that.
Thank you. Thank
now,
you.
gentlemen, just to jump right into it, there is a story on page 6 of the Daily Nation that I want us to kind of focus on. That is the Cold War in RAILA camp and why Kalonzo, is blowing hot and cold on Azimio deal. Now, just to quote some of his words that are on the front page of the Daily Nation, he says, "With many Wiper members, we shall be able to impeach Mr. Odinga if he fails to honor the deal we signed. DP Ruto started his campaigns immediately after they were re-elected in 2017. I will also start my journey to State House a day after swearing in of Odinga as president." And he continues to say, and the name is Azimio One Kenya. That is the name of the Grand Coalition, which will then be registered under the amended Political Parties Act as a political party. First of all, before we get into the politics of all of this, Bona Jack Norris.
Yes.
What do you think about Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka's words?
I think, and I tend to believe that Kalonzo, contextually, according to what they actually try to say, and I with Kalonzo I know, and with Kalonzo we all know, as you know, we've been around, and as a good person, if you've been around, you will realize Kalonzo has been branded with some names, like, you know, the other names that I might not be able to mention here. But then with that perception of who Kalonzo is, and he is actually capable of doing what he says. And so that is a worrying trend, because if that is how we are going to run our politics, then it means there is no, we'll never have a steady kind of administration that is going to actually focus on the agendas of the people and their manifestos as they usually promise us during these campaigns and everything. But then we'll always have a divided kind of government where we have two persons running different governments, like the president focusing on what they actually fought for, but then the other guy with his own ambitions and aspiration will always wish to maybe do some kind of dominate the whole atmosphere with their ambitions to ensure that they also get into power, just the way we've seen in the past. And it's a worrying trend, and I actually wish to believe, maybe contextually, maybe Kalonzo was trying to maybe involve the fathers and I mean the people in the, I mean, if whatever place he said he had his remarks, maybe he might have just tried to pull the people together so that, you know what, with force we can actually rally behind Kalonzo and champion for a different kind of view, refuse some different kind of amendments and everything, because you will realize currently in Kenya there are many things, not to mention a lot of constitutional amendments, not to mention a lot of, you know, high cost of living here in Kenya. And so when you have someone like Kalonzo who maybe promises you, and for real promises you, not the Kalonzo we know, you can actually rally behind him and champion for something different. different, and that is actually going to maybe in a way try to trim the size, the extent at which the government is going to maybe oppress the people, because we've realized, we've been here and we've seen a lot of political intimidations and everything, and so those are some of the things that maybe the people would be against. And as such, I can say Kalonzo actually, that was just but according to me personally, according to me, maybe he just heard it contextually. Yes.
Bwana Mark, what are your thoughts about Kalonzo Musyoka's statement?
You know, Kalonzo is in a relationship with a maternity, relationship that is not comfortable at all. You know, if you try maybe to read in the body language, it can tell you that Kalonzo is not in Azimio. Kalonzo is still in that Ok mentality. He is yet to accept that, wait, I have said later for the third time. He is yet to accept. And that's where the problem comes in. Then there is a problem that is in Ukambani. You know, in Ukambani there is that supremacy battle between Kalonzo and the governors from his side. If you follow the likes of Gilu, if you follow the likes of Mutua, if you follow the likes of Kivuda Kibwana, there is that supremacy battle, and that supremacy battle is making Kalonzo feel like, look, umekuja kwa siasa the other day and now you want to show me the way. You know, you're yet to accept that me the big man Bazoo when it comes to Okabani politics. There is that supremacy battle, and he's trying now to test himself and trying to prove that, you know, I can. Domana, you'll find that in that particular day when they had Jacaranda, they are telling us that they waited for 6 hours before even they came to an agreement. You know, Kalonzo says that it is Raila who was somehow reluctant to sign our MOU, and he adds that and that was all led by this lady by the name, the Iron lady by the name Gilu. She's the one who contributed for us to delay on that signing. So it's like there is a difference between him and this his governors, to say, and that battle is making him maybe sometimes to say some words that are not pleasing. You know, the other day he said that, you know, I wonder why Kalonzo, you know, I am not used to Kalonzo who is a crybaby, because for the lack of better word, he's a crybaby to some extent these days, because he goes to a certain value and he says that Gilu is the one who made the whole issue to be heard in one way or another. So he is not yet comfortable, and he has not yet accepted that I'm not vying for presidency. Then there is another thing, for the lack of better words, that they have been taught. He has been taught in, for the lack of better words, bad manners by the current deputy president, because he believes that when you get in there, you're not supposed to do what you are elected to do, but you're supposed to focus on 5 years to come. He's so much now focused that if they get an opportunity and if Baba wins, because he's going to win, after that he is very sure that now I should focus on 2027, not what I'm supposed to do, because he's saying that I'm trying nikama najipanga in case of Kiumane. I'm very ready that hapo nikiingia that I must do what the deputy president is doing currently, so that I can get marriage for 2027. And that is very unfortunate, because you're so much focused about the 2027 or 5 years to come, and you're not yet you have not done what you're supposed to do at that particular time. So I tend to think that Kalonzo, the path he is following is not the right path.
Yes, and do you think
maybe if I can chip in a little, I think when Kalonzo have such thoughts and reasoning, you know, like, look at who Kalonzo is rallying for, like who he is campaigning for. This is Raila Odinga. And as such, we've known the Raila we've seen in this political arena, like the way he has been there, the way he has been with these people. Look at, you know, in politics, there is what we call politics of betrayal. And so, like Kalonzo, I think Kalonzo is getting ready, is trying to get ready for the battle ahead. You know, when he has experienced some political betrayal. Talk from the times of Moi. Look at what Uhuru has done with Ruto, Raila, with Ruto and everyone. And you know, you remember the other time during the recent NDC where UDA had actually endorsed their presidential flag bearer, you realize that Wanjiki was one of the speakers over there, and he happened to have mentioned that, you know, during the formation of this government, these players were here, but then they came to an extent where they came to a point where one of the players came to me crying to me that, you know what, have been left out, have been, you know, that kind of betrayed. And so Kalonzo is trying to get ready. If that is actually by a fact that it means what he says, then actually he's getting ready for a battle that is ahead. So that if you try to betray him, yeah, he would be having what to say, yeah, before maybe the elections and everything.
And what do you think the impact of his words will have on those who are loyalists to the Azimio movement? Do you think it could impact the way people see the Azimio movement in terms of, because ultimately the Azimio movement is aiming at forming the next government. But then if people perceive it as, you know, a movement that already has a bit of infighting in it, do you think it will impact its popularity?
Okay, maybe first, like, you know, when Kalonzo, what is happening in Azimio actually, I might not be able to understand so much because we just observe, and you know, we always told, you know that all that meets the eye is actually the end of everything, or I mean the size of everything. Like, you still have a lot of untold stories and everything behind the scenes and everything. And so one thing we are sure of is that this is a pre-coalition, you know, agreement. If Azimio and Wiper are to match up together, and so when this is a pre-coalition agreement, it's something that is going to be a done deal before elections, and not a post-election coalition where you now come in after the government have been formed and everything. And so I believe all those you know, negotiation frame will have been, you know, defined before we enter into elections and before we make arrangements of the next government. And so according to what Kalonzo is actually doing, it you know, when it comes to loyalty of Azimio, I even wonder where you get the term loyalty in Azimio, because these are the guys you will always see them, you know, kicking themselves in the public and everything. I saw a guy over there who always champions for Azimio at the social media. I saw him responding to Kalonzo. You know, this is it's like it's a negotiation period, and we need not to differ so much, but then they are differing already. And so when you tell me about the popularity of Kalonzo, maybe Kalonzo has been there and he has been in this political arena for a while, and so it would not affect so much in his popularity. But then according to what is there at the loyalty table, actually it's going to have an effect, an impact, you know, like it is the guy we are going to form the government, and so we have to look at his loyalty and trust. This is the guy who will turn down everything in the government if actually we give him some good powers and everything, and maybe we will have to demean him and intimidate him like former vice president, I mean the deputy president, if actually he will not be in the government. But then that's something unlikely, because he will actually be the 50th president of this country.
What are your thoughts, Borobak?
Okay, to start with, I don't think that you know, Kalonzo knows very well. He's an experienced leader. He knows that Baba is going to win with or without him. That is a fact. Because Kalonzo is a person. You know, when you're trying to view Kalonzo, you're trying to view, you know, you have to accept that you are trying to view Kalonzo as a comer. Sometimes our politics is regionalized and it's a tribe thing, because sometimes when maybe you want to have Uhuru, you're trying to see Uhuru as a president, but at the same time you're seeing Uhuru as a kingpin from the Mount Kenya kingpin. So Kalonzo, if he chip out of Azimio, he doesn't create a lot of impact, because his own governors, 3 of them, they are not in any way supporting him, because even if he decides now, I want to remain with my Oka, which support is he getting? Which support is he getting? Because he's only here because he knows he's only saving Baba. Because if he gets out, he doesn't have any support from his backyard. And I have to say that Kalonzo is only that he's trying to bring confusion just to prove that, wait, I'm still seen in this political field of this country. And what I have to tell you is that Kalonzo was a vice president back then. He knows all about these politics and all that. But now, as I've said, he's been taught bad manners, for the lack of better words, that, wait, I have to do something for me to trend. I have to do things like Ruto for me to trend, because Ruto has gained mileage just all of a sudden, because first of all amekosa kufanya kazi, and what he has to do is just to go out there and try to campaign for himself. That is the only tactics that is going to help me, and he's just trying to create dramas as early as now, just to prove, because he has already started. His 2027 journey has already started, and that is the confusion that he's trying to bring now, of which I don't think that is going to create any impact or is going to affect us in any way. Yes.
You know, Kevin, they usually say you will be remembered. You will be remembered more on what you did. And so when you tell me William Ruto has gained some popularity and knowings here and there, having not done anything, then maybe I beg to differ.
Yes. Popularity in a bad manner's way, for the lack of better words. Because there is no, you tell me that an elected deputy president, what his focus is on in 2017 is how he's going to win 2022. Yet, there are so many challenges and so many problems Kenyans were facing back then, and we are still facing within a span of from 2027 until within this span of 5 years. He was very sure that Kenyans maybe they are going to suffer. Kenyans need electricity. Kenyans need clothes, but instead he takes that those projects as he's campaigning to. So I don't think he worked in any way, because when you're focused about the future and you're not concentrate about the present thing, then you just become maybe in your own government.
But your head of state also focused on the coming regime, that he was actually restructuring and working so much and working so hard for BBI, and that would define the next regime and government. So when you tell me maybe deputy president has been focusing on the coming regime and government and the elections of 2022, I can say also the president had been focusing since 2018, fighting your deputy in the sense of, you know what, we have to champion for this thing, and it was something to be implemented for the next regime.
What I'm sure.
Yes, gentlemen. While we, because we seem to have shifted gears to the deputy president, I have this question. Do you think that because the deputy president has been speaking locally and also internationally, and while he has been giving these speeches, he has been taking credit for the projects done by the Jubilee-led administration, while distancing himself from the failures of the same administration? So do you think two things? One, that this would then mean that most of the projects that were done and implemented happened during the first term, while the failures happened in the second term. So do you think then that the deputy president is justified in taking credit for the successes, and also justified for distancing himself from the failures, or does he have to, accept the coin as it is with both sides?
Maybe, I choose to agree with the fact that, he has to, he gets some credit for what has been a success to this government, actually. Also the projects that were initialized and initiated during the first term, including all the plannings and all the allocations that were done during the first term. And so unfortunate that a lot of failures in this regime came during the second term, and if you're a Kenyan and you've been around, you will realize, including you can even compare the economic times and everything, you will realize that the second term has actually been more of drama than actually focusing on the agendas and the policies that they had actually agreed that, this is what we're going to do to these Kenyans. And so I think, this has been his government. For the last 9 years, it has been his government, and I cannot distance him so much. But then, you know, there is something we usually say by fact and by law. He has been the deputy president by law, but then by fact, in the second regime, second term, he has been away. Many things have been done without him, not being associated and everything. Remind me the last time you saw him in the second term, sitting down on maybe a cabinet sort of meeting and everything. And so I can say maybe it's because of him being away that also there were these failures and everything, because there might have been that cap for the failures.
But if he was away, why then does he still have the deputy president title, and why is his trips being paid for by the state, and while he's still occupying the deputy president's house in Karen?
Okay, like, you know, the deputy president post is an elective post, and it was a joint ticket. They were elected, and so like if in any way anyone took a bill to impeach him, a motion to impeach him and everything, and he was impeached and he never cut off the seat in a proper manner, then we would agree that, you know what, he's still there, yet is not there, such kind of a thing. But then I can tell you, these people who are outside here running around telling us, you know what, the deputy president is in this government and he's not doing anything, he's not supposed to be here. No one was willing to go and impeach him, and so you could not come in with your own reasoning and your own feeling that, you know what, can you resign? It's me who decides. And maybe for that reason, of course, the deputy president has been around. He has been moving around. You've seen a lot of projects he has been officiating and opening and maybe and everything. And so like that has been his role then. And it's because of the fact that he would not resign for the purpose of not betraying the trust and the fault that was casted on him in 2017. Yes.
Bonamar, what do you think about the deputy president's statement where he takes credit for the developments and distances himself from the failures of the Jubilee administration? You know,
it is very unfortunate and ironical that you elect someone, you know, they are saying that it was a joint ticket. You elect someone and what he becomes is turned to be a crybaby. You know, it is very unfortunate, because if you are, you just when you take a podium, you're complaining. What about those people who elected you? Because what I think, if he feels that this government is throwing me out, he should do an honorable thing and not wait to be impeached and just resign honorably, without waiting to be impeached. And now it is very unfortunate that the same person who is saying that I was elected to tulichaguliwa na Uhuru Kenyatta, the same person uses the same podium to complain. It is very unfortunate and very, very unfair. But what is just happening is that when he takes, you know, I'm so much disgusted when he takes the credit of things that are positive, and he is far much away from things that are that maybe they are not that positive. The failures. He takes the credits on positive things, and he's far away from the failures. You know, he takes the podium and says that simnajua tulijenga reli. Then at the same person says that hii reli ilikuwa sijui ilikuwa inaenda wapi, it is ilikuwa inaitwa reli yenye haijulikani inaenda wapi. The same person when he goes to Mombasa, he says that, he tells people from Mombasa, nyinyi solas ninajua umemalizwa na hawa wakubwa wenu, hii reli imeenda hapo hivi imeharibu biashara zenu, because they were saying that kuna vile imeharibu zile biashara. Those people who used to carry cargos using lorries, now they can't be able to carry them anymore because the railway came and tried to take away their jobs. And he goes there and he says, ilifanya nyinyi mkose kazi. And this is the same person, he goes to another area, he says tulijenga reli. Then he tells her that we have there is a lot of maybe debts in the country, but he has an audacity to say that tunajua tumejenga barabara, tunajua tumeweka stima. Wait a minute, where are you to get the money? You know, that is a very unfortunate statement, that he's trying to take credits on things that is not part and parcel of it. When you tell me that first term But during first term, that's when most of the things were done. I tend to think that is wrong. During the first term, what we are sure of, there was NIS, there was a bit of 2017 somewhere there was Kimorel and the so-called Kimorel dams. Who was the part and parcel? I don't know why he's not taking credit of NIS. I don't know why he's not taking credit of Kimorel and Arod dam, that he even stole money that is meant to help his own people. You know, this is very unfortunate. He's eating his own people, because Kimorel and Arod dam, I think it is somewhere in Rift Valley side, and if he could be able to eat money from, he was able to maybe to embezzle that money with Rotich, although it is believed that maybe it is allegation. I don't think it is yet to be proved. But if you can be able to you can plan a deal with your own CS for you to maybe to eat money that is meant to be for your people, and I don't know why he's not taking credit of that. There's a lot of hypocrisy in this, and he's just trying to play his political gymnastics, just to prove that I'm very innocent. But as per se, he's not innocent at all, and things that is happening in the country is part and parcel of it. If you are here to complain with us that they have stole KEMSA, that is the only thing that you know in the second term. That is the major thing that is going loud. Yes, we can't say that that is a good thing, but at least you have only one thing that is going loud. Yes, we can say it is a nice idea, but that is the only thing that you are sure of. Hapa kuna shida iko pahali. But in the first term, there are so many things that used to happen in the first term when it was part and parcel of it. Just I don't know what.
But then maybe to add on, maybe to add on briefly, I think also to maybe inform my brother, there are a lot of activities and a lot of projects that were done during the first term, actually. Not mention the completion of standard gauge railway, the electricity connection, mention everything, including the universal health care coverage and everything. And so I would wish to differ with you when you say maybe in the second term. The second term has only, we had 2018, 2019. 2018 we had PPI, 2019 we had PPI, and we are entering Corona season, and here we are 2022. So I doubt if you are going to convince me that maybe there were more projects done to completion in second term. But then, as you say, I would not wish to dive so much into what you claim as Kimorera and Aror scandals and everything, because I believe in this country we have relevant authorities that have been there fighting for, they are independent institutions, though they are not that much independent because they have been weaponized in a way that, in Kenya right now, everything has been politicized, and I think that is a problem to us as a nation. And thinking properly without taking side, that's a problem with us as a nation, that everything has been politicized. It has been taken in a view that, for the purpose of us succeeding in this political lane, we actually have to weaponize or to harm such a certain institution to actually maybe paint some pictures and everything. And so your allegations are actually maybe the same, the same things they would say in those rallies and everything, and maybe I would still maybe put you to task that maybe you just listen more about what these guys are telling you before the microphones and everything, but then actually be realistic to what is happening. You can't tell me there is a working, DCI and Director of Public Prosecutions, and nothing has been done against the Deputy President.
Well, we will be looking into the claims, because there have been quite a number of claims about state institutions and also the independent bodies that have been put in place to deal with such cases being under state capture. And it's also something that Honorable Raila Odinga said when he was in during one of his speeches, now that he is out of the country, where he says Mr. Odinga claimed the judiciary has been inflated by cartel of lawyers and judges who connive to defeat justice. This cartel, he noted, has continued to frustrate the fight against corruption and other crimes in the country. That is something that we will be looking at after this short break, but as you have heard, they do have their opinions and they are not afraid to express them. So do stay tuned to hear more from these two gentlemen right here on DAESAK TV. Hello and welcome back to the Morning Dew. This is the Hotspot segment where we get to discuss matters arising politically. Now today I am joined by two gentlemen, Bwana Mark Muigai to my left and Bwana Jack Norris Kipkogei to my right. And we are looking at what is happening in the country. Now, before we went on break, there was a question that came up about the corruption scandals that our leaders have been allegedly accused of, and why we have not seen any progress in the cases that they are facing, despite them having, being allowed to run for offices again. So, gentlemen, why do you think this is happening? And also, there is a claim by Honorable Raila Odinga, who claims the judiciary has been infiltrated by a cartel of lawyers and judges who connive to defeat justice. This cartel, he noted, has continued to frustrate the fight against corruption and other crimes in the country. There are a lot of political statements that have been made by the Azimio team about the deputy president and his allies, and the cases, the corruption allegations that have been leveled against them. Yes. So why are these people still being allowed to run for, offices in governance when there are these allegations that have not been looked into?
Okay. Now the problem that comes here is that we have not allowed our judiciary and our legislature and those independent bodies to do their work. That is the only problem, because if today you know that you are maybe in one way or another that you are collapsed, there is a possibility that you will join maybe on the other side of maybe, to say, that is according to my opinion, you find yourself joining Kenya Kwanza. Reason behind that, because you know that if maybe you are arrested, you'll have to use that excuse that they are arresting me because I'm this side. And that problem has created, that thing has created a lot of problems, because okay, we are not surprised when maybe you are being told that Waiguru has some scandals there. We are not surprised, because the same Waiguru, we held some allegations sometimes back, the NYS allegations, and to an extent she even decided to quit because the burden was so hard for her to maybe to be able to defend herself. So there is that. I don't think that in one way or another our institutions are weaponized, but the problem that comes in is that they are trying to tilt these bodies as in one way or another that they are being politicized. And the problem is when one of their man is touched, they take it as politics. When something is not being done, they take it as the failure of judiciary. When maybe there is a scandal of KEMSA, they take it as if that the judiciary and the likes, they are not doing their job. But if there is one of their own who will be in that mix of KEMSA, they start now claiming that now this judiciary is being used to fight us. Maybe for instance, those are just but crybabies. If maybe today Moses Kuri is being invited in by IEBC to maybe to confirm the cases that he said that they stole votes back in 2017, you'll find the same people saying that IEBC is trying to fight us because they have already maybe invited Moses Kuri. And that's where the problem is, because Moses Kuri was very sure that if I say some words, definitely the other week or the other day I'll be maybe summoned by the IBC and those bodies. That's just but one example. And so
your opinion then is that it's not so much
it is not
what
so
is being told as the cartels that are in these bodies, but rather the politicization of the process of seeking justice.
There is politicization, and what comes in, and that's why I'm telling you that, for instance, Moses Kuria was aware that maybe saying that they stole votes back in 2017 may be summoned by IBC. And now what we expect, if by any chance is being told that now what you saying and it is the law will be tachukuliwa hatua, what will be taken is that he's fighting Moses Kuria because he's in Kenya Kwanza. Okay, maybe when you take an example of some corruption cases that have been happening before, we take an example of Kimwarelda. If the deputy president or maybe the other side, they are saying that we have left that those cases there, we have professional bodies to deal with those corruption allegations. But they're trusting these those bodies when the cases are on their side. But when those cases is not favoring them in one way or another, they're trying now to politicize it. We are in a country whereby most of the people are just crybabies, and that's why you are finding it's hard for a court maybe to take an action, because they are being perceived to take sides on this side or the other side. That politicization of our independent bodies and maybe the likes of judiciary, the likes of EACC and the likes of DCI is what is making them not to perform duties that they are supposed to do, because they are being taken. That the other day you saw Ruto saying with the NDC that they used KRA, they used EACC. Wait a minute, if you have not paid your taxes, what do you expect? The same people that you are saying that you are going to raise money, and when one of you is being a someone that you are not paying taxes, now you take it as, now this is all about fighting us. That's the problem that is in here. It is all about politicization. And the so-called cartels that they are saying, it is the same politician who are cartelsing these independent bodies. That's the problem. That's where the problem is.
Maybe it was something, but contrary to what my brother Mark over there believes in. Now, okay, first of all, I think the reason as to why these people are still vying for those offices and they are not actually, at some point we would wish to see some indications like, you know what, you need not to run for this office because you're this way and this way, you're this, that, and everything, you don't qualify for such a post and everything. I think it's because they are innocent. I believe they are relevant authorities, and I believe we, the people whom you guys presume that those guys, I mean not you guys, but then those guys on the other political side of the divide, believe that we actually are in opposition, and it's by the fact that we are not that much influential in the government. You will realize that we are not able to, the people who maybe have this this other opinion of reasoning like, with the bottom-up approach kind of model, you will realize that we not that much deep in the government, and so I would not wish to have a reasoning that, you know what, we influence so much the judiciary, and by a fact, if that is going to be to happen, my brother also should put into account the fact that, you know what, the other day Raila made some remarks that actually were equally I think he was lauding what our good friend Michika Linturi was saying, that there are some, the use of the word madoado and everything, and you remember how Raila was summoned and everything. How about if the mitigation were, you know what, you're not going to run for this office, the deputy president will be unopposed in these coming elections, except maybe for serving a party Chimiwanjiki running for presidency. And so it should not sound like, you know what, we are fighting our person, or you are fighting our opponent and everything. One thing that I usually still have a cry on and not taking sides in politics is actually that it's a fact in Kenya, and it's something that actually needs to be, some attention needs to be drawn to it, so that we can actually move as a country and progress, because we have politicized nearly each and everything in such a way that before something is done, we first of all have to categorize in which favor of side will it fall into and everything. And that is why the call made by the deputy president the other day at the Tuesday during our national delegation convention over there at Kasarani, the people who watch, who are following actually might have thought maybe, we usually say Kasarani, Kisirani and everything, such kind of a thing. But then, Kasarani is a very iconic place where many things have been happening, including what has happened, what has been influencing one in a nation anyway. But not to lose my line of reasoning is that, William Ruto the other day was telling us and actually convincing and actually championing for the fact that, you know what, we would wish to have a government where we will try as much as possible not to bring so much politics into our political agendas, political developmental agendas, and everything that is good for our nation, including, you know, the collection of revenue and everything that, you know, KRA at some point, as we see, there are things that are happening at KRA that we feel like maybe these officers are no more working independently, and so we would wish to have a government where it gives space for those officers to operate independently, run their due courses independently, like so that we can avoid the cases of some people coming to leak different servers that we never knew they were there. You know, we were told 2017 everything was okay, and now you come here you are in the last minute of the hour, you hear some people telling us, you know what, for us to be in this final lap, we actually had to this and this and this happen, and these are senior political masters. I'm not going to cleanse Raila on that, because, you know, Raila also is telling us, you know what, judiciary has been influenced, and it's a public institution. It has been influenced in such a way that it's not executing its duties, and when it comes to fighting corruption. And I think he has just used judiciary as an example, or an iconic example. I think he has deeper meaning of what he says, actually, according to how everything is influenced. And so if that is the trend and that's how things are, then we need to worry as a nation.
Indeed, indeed. Now, gentlemen, we have run out of time, but before we end, just very briefly, please, starting with you, Bonamark, your final submissions to the camera.
Okay, I would like to thank our viewers for watching us, and my last words is that I would like maybe to address my fellow youths. You know, we are the majority, and if we accept that a number is not going to help us, it will be very unfortunate. What I would like to maybe to encourage them is that they should start firm and still, so that we can elect people who have best manifestos for us, and those people who have best ideas and plans for us. We should not be used maybe to cause chaos. Maybe before you decide to maybe to do something evil to someone, just ask yourself, what will this help me after August 9th? Do something that is going to help you after that. And the only thing that is going to help you is electing those best leaders that are going to help you, leaders who are going to ensure that your welfare is well catered for. I would like maybe to advise you, let us do politics that is going to help us, and not politics that is only going to help those people, but politics that is going to help us as much as is helping those people. So thanks for watching us, and until next time, goodbye.
Bona Jack Norris.
All right, thank you. And maybe to have my final submission, I would wish to pen off by having a call on our political players and our political participants. Actually, it's so worrying that, you know, we have senior persons right now in the country trying to convince us that, you know what, your vote doesn't matter so much, that, you know what, at the end of the day, in the final hour, we will come, on the 11th hour, we will come and leak the servers and tell you, you know what, this is what happened during the other time. The likes of Moses Kuria, the likes of Savina Sheke, and the other persons claiming that there can be a possibility of breaking votes and everything. And so for that reason, I would wish to call on our political players to avoid as much as possible, not to touch so much, not to try to incite people so much, because it will affect the vote turnout and everything, because people won't turn out for, and actually we would not be having a good an appropriate administration, because maybe it will have been influenced in such a way that, you know what, it was done according to this other way. And so I would wish to see us progress well as a nation. I would wish to see a nation that is politically inclusive, where all people are included. I'm happy that the other day the to that gender rule was passed, and our ladies are well represented, if not that much, but then they are at least represented. I would wish to see also a certain special group of persons participating in this politics, and these are the youths. The youths are the people who are actually energetic and ready to work for this country. And let us, I would wish to call on our key players to include our youths, not only on rallies but also on the negotiation tables. Just the way the Deputy President said, we would wish to have youths still continuing to negotiate on the political table, so that we can have good for this country and champion good for the country. And maybe in some way, if that is not going to work, I, Jack Norris Kipkogei, Member of Parliament, Aldai Constituency 2027, will come in and sponsor a bill that will seek to reserve at least a certain post for youths. If not MCA, then a certain just a post, so that we can have good for our country where youths are included and everything. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Well, those are the words of Bwana Mark Mugai and Jack Norris Kipkogei on what is happening politically in the country, and they mark the end of our hotspot segment today. Do stay tuned, because after this short break, I will be back with the Swahili team, and we will be discussing a few matters here and there, not necessarily politics, but matters that touch on your lives as Kenyans. And I will also be telling you about the Jichanue Dosika na Lotto campaign that they are running, and how you can make a lot of money off of a small amount of money that you used to play with. So do stay tuned for all of that coming after this short break.
Rangeni hapa asubuhi huwa mjazoea kuona sura hii kila Ijumaa, so atakuwa anaweza kujitambulisha halafu tuendelee. Karibu.
Mtazamaji, mimi jina langu ni Edmund Modime, na nadhani si mara ya kwanza kuweza kuniona hapa hivi, lakini kwa siku ya Ijumaa ni mara yangu ya kwanza kukaa katika meza hii na wakuu wenzangu.
Asante sana, karibu. Mimi naitwa Faith Riziki, na leo nilikuwa nataka tuzungumze swala fulani hivi. Kuna tutamuita ni comedian. Comedian ni mchekeshaji wa Kiswahili. So comedian Eric Omondi amekuwa akizunguka sana katikati ya wiki. Anafanya mambo kuona kwamba anapigania haki za Wakenya ama haki za vijana. Nataka vijana wapewe kazi. Sasa hivi amepeana makataa ni ultimatum ya siku 7. Yale matakwa yake yale yatekelezwe, vijana wapewe kazi, na pia vitu vingine. Yani anasema kwamba kama hamtatufanyia hivi, sisi hatutapiga kura kama vijana. So juzi tumeona kwamba alichoma his national ID, na pia akajidip kwa sewage, kuonesha ile anaonyesha kwamba hatutaki vitu wa viongozi ambao hawatatufanyia kile ambacho tunataka. Labda tukilizungumzia swala hilo, tukiangalia katika uhalisia, je, wanasiasa wamekuwa na propaganda sana? Ndio maana vitu kama hivi sisi vijana tuanze kuchangamka na tuweze kumjoin Eric Omondi katika hili. Watu pia anataka pia vijana wachome mpaka zile kadi zao za kura kama haya matakwa hayatatekelezwa.
Kwanza kabisa naamini ya kwamba kuna njia ambazo zinafaa ikifika ni kuelezea matakwa yetu. I, for one, I don't think, no matter the grievances that I have, I will not throw myself into sewage, you know.
Najua labda hiyo ndio njia mwafaka ya kujieleza, kwa sababu watueleweki labda.
Kuna njia mingi sana za kujieleza, na Kenya naweza sihi Eric Omondi afanye ni atafute njia ambayo itaunganisha vijana wengi. Kwa sababu tukisema ni kujitupa kwa sewage, si watu wengi, sio vijana wengi wataweza kufanya jambo kama hilo. So he may not have the following for his demonstrations as much as would be needed, you know, to make an impact in the political landscape. Yes, tunahitaji kazi. Sisi kama vijana tunahitaji kazi. Kuna mashida zingine ambazo tunapitia, and we need our leaders to address them. Lakini vile tunavyo express hizi mashida, I think it plays a very key role into whether or not our issues will be addressed.
Na labda mwalimu, umeona hizi vitu vyote ambavyo vilikuwa vinatokea, wewe umechukulia vipi?
Ukiweza kuangalia Eric Omondi, huyu ni mtu ambaye ako na, yani huwa anataka sana kila mtu apate haki. Na tumeona mara nyingi sana ameweza kujitolea watu waweze kupata haki kwa niaba. Yeye ameweza kujitolea pale vile. Juzi tulikuwa kuna wakati alikuwa ameenda pale parliament na akaweza kushikwa. Zote alikuwa anapigania haki. Na ukiweza kuangalia alikuwa anapigania wasanii, na wasanii wenyewe hawakujitokeza. Hapa tena tumeweza kuona kwamba aliweza kuchoma ID, na pale vile alikuwa anasema kwamba ikiwa vijana hawataweza kupata kazi pale na viongozi hawajampatia agenda kamili ambayo watakuwa wanatekeleza, vijana pale vile waunganike waweze kuchoma ile kadi za kura. Nadhani pale vile alikuwa anaashiria kwamba ni wakati sasa hivi wale viongozi waweze kuamka na waweze kujua kwamba kweli vijana wapo na wanahitaji kazi. Kwa sababu tumeona mara nyingi kwamba wale viongozi ambao wapo kwenye serikali, wao wakishaingia pale vile wanaangalia sana nafsi zao. Hawezi angalia tena ni wapi walikuwa wameuza sera zao. Na mwananchi wa kawaida anateseka zaidi. Na huyo mwananchi wa kawaida yeye ndo alimpigia kura yule kiongozi akaweza kuingia pale serikalini. Kwa hivyo kitu Eric Omondi anajaribu kuleta pale vile ni kuona kwamba viongozi wamewajibika. Na saizi nikiweza kuangalia pale vile kuna mtu kama Jalango. Anajua shida za watu ambao wako chini. Kwa hivyo ni mtu ambaye anapigania kiti aweze kuingia kwenye serikali. Ukiweza kuangalia mtu kama MCS na pia atakuwa anapigania kiti aweze kuingia pale katika bunge. Sasa nadhani kitu Eric Omondi anajaribu kuanza kupambania kwa sasa hivi. Akiweza kupambania vizuri, wale vijana waweze kumuunga mkono. Na itakuwa vizuri wakimuunga mkono kwa sababu hana ajenda mbaya kwa vijana. Ako na ajenda nzuri na anaonesha kwamba anataka vijana maisha yao yaweze kuboreka pale vile. Kwa hivyo akiweza kuingia pale nadhani atakuwa anafanyia haki, kwa sababu ukiangalia ana uhusiano mzuri na MCS, ana uhusiano mzuri vile vile na Jalango pale. Kwa hivyo nadhani zile sera zake ambazo ako nazo na nataka pale vile ziweze kufika katika parliament. Nadhani kwa sasa hivi wakiweza kufaulu pale Jalango, akiweza kufaulu aingie bungeni, na vile vile MCS aweze kuingia pale bungeni. Nadhani labda itakuwa rahisi kwake yeye kuweza kuwapitishia yale matakwa ambayo anataka yaweze kuwajibishwa pale vile. Itakuwa ni urahisi aweze kuwapitishia pale vile, na ikifika bungeni waweze kuendelea kutoka. Kwa hivyo mimi naweza sema na muunga mkono Eric Omondi kwa yale mambo ambayo anafanya, kwa sababu ingekuwa ni mtu ambaye hataki ubaya na labda anavunja sheria kwa moja ama nyingine kuweza labda kuleta mtafaruku katika nchi ya Kenya, ingekuwa si jambo la busara. Lakini ni mtu anajaribu kuhakikisha kwamba haki inapatikana mahali. Unajua shida ya viongozi wetu wa Kenya, usipojaribu yani tuseme yani usipoleta kitu kwenye public, wao hakuna kitu watafanya.
Kwa hivyo viongozi wetu ni lazima washurutishwe ndo wafanye jambo.
Lazima wafinye mahali, wakusikie. Ndo hapo hivyo wataweza kuangalia issue yako ni gani yenye unataka kuleta pale vile. Hata ukiweza kuangalia yenye alikuwa ameelekea pale kwenye bungeni. ilikuwa ni mara ya kwanza akashikwa. Mara ya pili akaenda kio ndani ya kio. Wale wabunge walikuwa pale ndio walishika huo mswada wake wakaupeleka bungeni. Na ukaweza kusikika pale vile na ukaweza kujadiliwa pale bungeni. Ilikuwa ni lazima pale vile uteseke kwanza ndo. Na wewe ndio kiongozi ambaye ulikuwa umemchagua. Kwa hivyo nadhani kitu ambacho ameweza kuona Eric Omondi ni kwamba viongozi wa Kenya lazima pale vile ulete kitu kwenye mwangaza pale vile kabla waweze kuhakikisha kwamba huo mswada unatekelezwa ama unasikika pale vile kama mwananchi wa kawaida. Sasa nadhani amefanya hivyo kwa utetezi wa kila mtu.
But there's kuna njia nyingine tofauti ya kuangalia kile ambacho Eric Omondi anafanya. Kama nilivyosema awali, kuna njia zingine njema zingine mzuri sana za kuwasilisha matakwa yake. And one of them would be, because Eric Omondi is a public figure, he is loved by a lot of people in the country, especially the youth, and he has a large following amongst the youth. So if he was to plan maybe a march, you know, from whatever place to the gates of Parliament, where they would then present their needs to the MPs on paper or on some other form, for the MPs to then go into Parliament and debate, I believe he would be able to amass a huge amount of people to accompany him on this march, and they will have an impact on Nairobi CBD, which is something that we know the government does not like when it is interfered with. Secondly, kuangalia historia ya our politicians, unaweza fikiria kuna venye Eric Omondi anafikiria kuingia siasa. Kwa sababu Mike Mbuvi Sonko alianza na tactics kama hizo. Anaenda pahali penye anatafuta yale mashida yenye watu wanapitia, alafu anaenda kujaribu kutatua mashida hayo. Kama kuna wakati alipigwa picha, alichukuliwa video akiwa amelala chini katikati ya barabara. Kuna video nyingine alipigwa akipiga milango ya mabati ama ya chuma mangumi, na akaonekana mpaka vile alivyoumia mikono. And then later on he now started his political journey, and we all know where that led. You know, he got the positions he was looking for, and he rose to a certain point before he finally fell. So the question I have is Eric Omondi applying these tactics to prepare you know, to kind of showcase his abilities as a leader, so that when he does finally decide to announce his political ambitions, then he will have quite a following, because there are comedians who are venturing into the field of politics, kama Modime alivyosema, kuna Jalango na kuna MC Jesse, amongst, well, just to mention a few, there are so many more. So the question is Eric Omondi applying these tactics because maybe during the next elections, not the 2022 but rather the 2027 ones, he intends to run for an elective position?
Lakini hata kama ni majaribio ya kuonyesha kwamba anataka kujitayarisha, tusema kuweka akili za vijana pamoja, kwamba maybe in the future atakuwa na run, mbona achome ID? Kuna
the you know, the more extreme your actions, the more viral they will go. You know, if he did something smaller, kitu kama kuchoma huduma namba huduma card, akichoma huduma card, maybe there will not have been an impact. Lakini akaangalia akaona akaweza choma ID, that would, you know, get the attention of a lot of people in the country. So maybe that's what happened. I don't think by banning his ID he's in any way you know, forsaking his citizenship to Kenya.
Nadhani pia labda haikuwa ile original.
Inaweza kuwa ilikuwa copy.
Inaweza kuwa copy.
Kwa sababu ukishikwa na polisi kwa barabara bila ID na umefikisha miaka, hauna ID na hauna abstract kutoka kwa polisi kusema ID yako ilipotea, itakuwa ni shida.
Kwa sababu wajua ile ni kitu ambayo unaonyesha kwa public. Sasa nadhani labda alichoma ile fake kidogo, no, at least watu waone kweli huyu jamaa yuko serious pale vile.
Hatuwezi kudhibitisha hilo, lakini tukizungumzia hili swala la yeye kujifunga, kuna wakati pia amejifunga cheni zile nyororo, alafu akatembea kwa barabara. Je, inamaanisha kwamba kunao bado ukoloni mamboleo, ya kwamba kweli tulipata uhuru lakini bado tumefungwa na viongozi wetu. Hilo lilichukuliwa vipi?
Ukoloni mambo leo huko. Hilo ni jambo ambalo hatuwezi bishana nalo. I mean, if at all you're a Kenyan citizen and you've been looking at the way things are transpiring in the country, then you cannot deny that up to a certain extent we are still employing the same tactics that our colonial masters did back in the day to, you know, divide our ancestors. One of them was divide and conquer. You know, our politicians still the kikiumana upande wao. I feel like they still result to separating us along tribal lines. You know, they basically bring out the point where it is now these people from this tribe are being fought against by either the government or by the people from the other side. So they still divide us in that way. The other thing would be, well, there is this there's this issue of giving certain people in society a certain amount of power that they feel they do not deserve, and as such, or rather they're not qualified to handling, and as such these people then get to, you know, separate themselves from the society, which is what happened back then with the chiefs. The colonial masters came and put chiefs in a certain position within the society, and then these chiefs would, because they felt that they were elevated, they would have their friends and family and other close members, and they will segregate themselves from the rest of the society. And that is still something that is happening today. So I do look forward to the point in time where our politics is no longer divided according to regional blocks, but rather we look at our politicians and our individuals, the people looking for leadership positions. We look at their manifestos and their track records in order for us to decide, instead of looking at you know, this person belongs to this tribe and as such he has a following from this regional block. There was kulikuwa na hadithi jana kwa Daily Nation about venye kura zimegawanyishwa Kenya. You know, there are strongholds for Raila Odinga, there are strongholds for the Deputy President William Ruto, and then there are battlegrounds. So I look forward to a time when this will not be the case. You know, Raila Odinga will be looked at from his track record, from his manifesto, what he's promising to do for the Kenyans, other than Raila Odinga has been, you know, he is from this region and he therefore deserves to have undying support from this region, from the people in this region.
Tukiendelea kumalizia mwalimu, je, huu ni wakati wa vijana kuamka kama anavyosema Kelvin, nasema kwamba ni wakati sasa wa kuangalia, tusiangalie zile strongholds, lakini tunaona kwamba huo ndo mfumo ambao umekuwa ukitumika kwa muda mrefu sana, kwamba mimi natokea sehemu hii, basi watu wangu wa sehemu hiyo lazima wao ndo watakuwa strong kwangu na watani support. Wewe unalionaje swala hilo?
Unajua sisi kama Wakenya ama wapiga kura huwa tuko na tabia moja ama shida moja. Sisi hatuchagui mtu kwa sababu yeye ni kiongozi. Sisi huchagua mtu kwa sababu ana maarufu. Na hilo hicho ndicho kitu ambacho kinatupoza sisi kama Wakenya. Na ukiweza kuangalia wengi ambao wameweza kuchaguliwa pale vile si viongozi, wao ni wanasiasa. Na tofauti ya kiongozi na mwanasiasa, kiongozi ataangalia ni wapi ambapo alipotoka, lakini mwanasiasa yeye ni ataongea tu kile ambacho kinamfaidi kwa wakati huu. Na baada ya hapo yeye atachana na mambo kama hayo. Na ukiweza kuangalia kwa vijana, sisi kama vijana kwa sasa hivi, sisi tutaangalia umaarufu tu wa watu, tuone huyu mtu anazungumza namna gani. Hatujaweza kukaa chini pale vile tukaona kwamba wale ambao wako uongozini kwa sasa hivi wengi si vijana. Sasa tutafanya vipi ili tuweze kuhakikisha kwamba vijana kadhaa wapo pale vile kwenye serikali, ndo tukitaka vitu kadhaa ziweze kusikika, itakuwa ni rahisi kwa wale vijana ambao wako pale vile waweze kuwasilisha vitu kama hivyo, ili sauti zetu ziweze kusikika pale vile. Na nadhani ingekuwa vijana kadhaa wapo katika serikali, tungekuwa na usemi zaidi kama vijana. Lakini kwa sasa hivi ukiweza kuangalia wengi wako pale vile, ni wazee wengi sana. Ndio maana utakuta miswada ambayo watakuwa wanaongelea mingi ni sisi tukisha retire tutaangalia. Hiyo ndio maswala watakuwa wanazungumzia, kwa sababu wako pale ni wazee ambao watakuwa wanastaafu. Hawatazungumzia kwamba kwa sasa hivi serikali imefikisha miradi hapa na hapa. Sasa after hii serikali yenye itakuja inafaa iangalie miradi ipi na ipi ambayo haikuweza kutekelezwa, waweze kuchukulia kutoka hapo. Lakini ukisikia miswada ambao watakuwa wanazungumza pale vile ni tofauti na mawazo ya serikali, mawazo ya mwananchi wa kawaida ambaye aliweza kumchagua yule kiongozi aweze kuingia pale vile na aweze kuwasilisha sauti ya mwananchi pale vile. Sasa naona vijana ambao wakiweza kuingia, nikizungumzia sana sana nazungumzia Jalango na MCJS kwa sababu wamekuwa ground sana na wamejua shida ya mwananchi wa kawaida. Labda ukiingia pale vile itakuwa ni mlango vijana wengine ambapo watakuwa wanaofuata pale vile. Na vile huyu alisema labda Eriko Mondi pia anaweza kufuata.
Yeah, lakini unajua kusema kwamba wao ni vijana na wanaingia kwa hizi positions, does not necessarily mean that they are qualified to deal with the situations that they are, with the problems that we are facing, which is also something else that we have to consider when you're looking for leaders to represent us. Because if we choose our leaders based on, as he is saying, their popularity, we risk then putting people into positions that they are not qualified for. Like, knowing the problems that we are facing is not a qualification. It does not mean that you are qualified to deal with those solutions. So I think as we are also looking at leaders, let us consider, do they have the capability to solve our problems, or are they people who are just there for, the easy money that comes with political positions, the allowances and the benefits that they get, because are they looking for more money and they think that this is one of the ways to get it easily, or maybe something else?
Tukiongelea hilo swala, kuna kale ka mzunguko kamekuwa kakizunguka chini ya maji kwamba bei za vyakula ziko juu sana. Ukianza pia na gas ziko juu sana, mafuta yako juu sana. Sasa ukiangalia ile trend ya mambo vile inatokea ni kwamba wanasiasa, kwa sababu ni msimu wa siasa, wanachukua zile shida za Kenya, sasa tunaanza kuzizungumzia, tutazifanya. Be it known that huyu mwanasiasa mwenye ambaye anakwambia hivyo amekuwa pia katika serikali, ama labda alikuwa mbunge, alikuwa MCA, na sasa hivi anakwambia nitafanya hivi nikiingia katika uongozi. Ni kitu gani ambacho sasa hivi wa Kenya vijana wanapaswa kuangazia zaidi tunapoangazia haya hizi promises ambazo zinapeanwa sana sasa?
Well, nafikiria kitu ya kwanza yenye tunafaa kufanya ni kuangalia zile issues ambazo hawa wanasiasa wanazungumzia. For instance, the food prices. If we do a bit of research into why there is the rise in food prices and why there has been an increase in the prices of gas, cooking gas and fuel, then we come to the conclusion that our politicians don't actually have any control over it. I mean, gas and petroleum prices are rising because of the conflict in Ukraine and Russia. And hakuna mwanasiasa hata akielektiwa kama president huku, they will have no say in the longevity or the longevity of the conflict happening in Ukraine and Russia. So some of these promises that they do end up making, if only we can take some time to do a research on the issues that these promises are founded on, then we can be able to, decide that he is telling the truth, he is lying, and this one doesn't even know what he's talking about.
Na labda kwa Mwadime unalichukulia vipi sana?
Ukiweza kuangalia sera ambazo wanauza wanasiasa, ukitaka kujua mwanasiasa anatokea wakati wa siasa. Na ukitaka kujua kiongozi yeye huwa anafanya mambo kabla aweze kuingia pale vile, na watu wanamtambua kwa sababu ya mambo ambayo ameweza kuyafanya. Lakini mwanasiasa yeye hutokea wakati wa siasa, na hapo ndo anaweza kurudi kwa mwananchi tena aweze kuomba zile kura. Sasa sisi wananchi tuko tu vile vile kama kawaida yetu, tutaweza kurudi pale na tutampigia kura hivyo hivyo. Lakini ukiweza kuangalia tungekuwa tuko na agenda. Kwa sababu ukiweza kuangalia agenda, mtu atakwambia labda atapandisha uchumi. Hajakupatia zile sababu ama hajakupatia ni kipi ambacho atafanya kupandisha ule uchumi. Atakwambia kwamba labda ataangazia sana sekta ya health. Ataweza kuangalia sana. Lakini hajakupatia mikakati ni ipi ambayo atachukua. Aweze kuangalia hiyo sekta ili iweze kukua inaboreshwa pale vile. Sasa ukijaribu kuangalia sera zote ziko juu tu. Hakuna zenye ziko ambao utasema kwamba haya ni mawazo kweli. Tukiweza kuangalia hapa nje tukifuata labda tutakuwa tuko na mwelekeo. Lakini atasema tu maneno ambayo atapumbaza tu mwananchi wa kawaida. Kwa sababu umeweza kwenda pale katika ile hadhira ambayo ameweza kuita yule mwanasiasa. Kwa hivyo wewe unataka tu kile ambacho wewe unataka kusikiza. Haujatilia maanani chenye kinasema. Wewe unataka tu kusikiza kwa sababu yule ni mtu ambaye umempenda na unataka kwamba aweze kuwa kiongozi. Utaenda pale vile ni kitu utataka zaidi usikize ndio atasema. Lakini haujatilia maanani chenye amesema, ukakipigia mahesabu ukasema akifanya hiki na hiki kweli hii is it possible? Kwa sababu ni miaka kadhaa tumeona kwamba mwanasiasa akiingia atasema hivi na hivi na vile vile hajaweza kutekeleza. Hasa vile ametuambia huyu ataweza kufanikisha hili namna gani? Lakini pale vile tukishafika kwenye hadhira tu sisi tutaangalia pale vile. Utauliza mwenzako umeandikwa jina. Sababu unajua after hapo kuna kitu utapata. Na ukikumbuka kwamba vile umesema kwamba mfumuko wa bei uko kwa sasa hivi. Hizo bei hizo pesa ambazo utaenda kupata pale kwa politician hazitaweza kumudu ile gharama ya chakula ambayo imepanda kwa sasa hivi. Kwa sababu ukienda pale vile utasukumana ni siku nzima umepoteza pale. Alafu upate shilingi 200. Ukifika pale nyumbani utapata sukari kwa sasa hivi labda itafika 150. Ukinunua sukari hiyo ni kilo moja 150. Umebaki na shilingi 50. Hakuna mboga, gesi hauna, mafuta taa yenyewe hauna. Sasa hapo utakuwa umejisaidia namna gani? Na pale vile umeenda ukakaa siku nzima, umepigwa na jua. Ukirudi mwenyewe uko na zile sunburns. Umeweza kurudi pale nyumbani. Ulikuwa unasikiza mwanasiasa. Lakini chenye umesikiza akija kufaidi kwa sasa hivi.
Na tukimalizia Kelvin na Mwalimu, watu wanapenda kuambiwa kile ambacho wanataka kusikia. So wanasiasa kwa sasa hivi wanatupatia yale ambayo masikio yetu yanataka tusikie. Kama nitajenga hospitali, nitawaletea maji, nitatengeneza sewage system. Kwa sasa hivi kijana yule mwananchi wa Kenya ambaye ni kijana, mwananchi wa Kenya ambaye ni mama, mwananchi wa Kenya ambaye amefikisha ule umri wa kupiga kura, anapaswa angalie nini haswa?
Track record. Because some of these leaders are recurrent in the government. So if a leader who has been in the government comes and promises you that they will do something that they have not yet done, then there is no guarantee that they will do it this time around. You know, no matter the positions that they are given, each leader has the capacity to make a certain impact in the society that they are leading. So have they made an impact? If the answer to that is no, boot that leader out of leadership. Put someone else who is capable there. If they have, then give them the chance to continue with the good work that they have been doing to better the society.
Na kwa Mwalimu?
Ukiweza kuangalia, mimi huwezi kuja ukanambia ati mimi ukinichagua kiongozi nitakuwa nimekujengea nyumba. Alafu umekuwa kiongozi, nikakuchagua ukuwe kiongozi ukaongoza labda kwa miaka 5. Ukirudi labda ulikuwa umejenga tu msingi pale vile. Ukaniambia ukinichagua tena nitaimalizia sasa ile nyumba. Siwezi kuchagua. Kwa sababu nikikuchagua labda unaweza kuja sasa ungoe kabisa ule msingi pale.
Na labda haupo adhabiti.
Kabisa. Kwa hivyo vile mwenzangu amesema ni kwamba kama kiongozi hajaweza kuonesha kwamba anaweza kuwa kiongozi, haina haja tuweze kumchagua. Hata kama ana maneno gani ambayo anasema yanamtoa nyoka pangoni. Acha nyoka baki pangoni. Tulie kabisa pale ndani.
Unataka atoke anze kumaana. Alright, mtazamaji, natumai hapo tutakuwa tunaweza kumalizia hapo kwa sababu ya muda, na natumai kwamba umeweza kupata mengi. Tumezungumza mambo mengi na haswa swala la uongozi, kwa sababu sasa hivi tunaelekea katika uchaguzi na lazima tuamke, ni lazima tuangalie zaidi ni nani ambaye tunamweka tuongozi, kwa sababu sasa hivi tukifanya uamuzi ni kwa miaka mingine mitano ndio tukuje tena tupate tena ile fursa ya kuchagua tena. So tunahakikisha kwamba tunakupatia habari ambazo zitakuwa kwa manufaa yako. Kwa hivyo sisi tutakuwa tunaweza kukomea hapo kwa sasa. Nimekuwa na mwenzangu Kelvin Mungai na pia Edmund Modime, na mimi ni Faith Nzai. Zidi kutazama runinga ya DAESAK TV.